Hello again everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a reading tonight using my trusty zombie tarot on Prince Harry's royal patronages. They were, as we all know, removed from him in March at the end of the year of the year of grace that he and Meghan were given to see how they did in California. And at the end of that period, there was a review and the royal patronages were very publicly removed. But at that time, they were not reassigned. They were just left in limbo. And certainly the Royal Marines were very unhappy about it and expressed their unhappiness publicly on several occasions. The news has now been broken by Roya Nicker, the royal reporter with the Sunday Times, that the patronages have been officially reassigned, that the Duchess of Cambridge, Catherine, is getting the rugby patronages, rugby union and rugby league, and Princess Anne is getting the really big prize of the Royal Marines, the position that her father, Prince Philip, held for decades, and then passed to Prince Harry, and Prince Harry, we all know, snubbed the Marines to go to the Lion King premiere, the Disney premiere, and try and scrounge a job for his wife doing voice work for Disney. So not a good moment for Prince Harry, and it's now official. He will not be getting those patronages back, and we can all see why now. He wanted his uniforms sent out to him in Montecito. He knows very well that he will not be using those uniforms again in the UK ever. Big moment, big blow. So I'm going to be asking the question now. What's the mood like in Montecito? I can imagine tiaras are being tossed. How does Harry feel about Catherine taking over the rugby patronages? How does he feel about Princess Anne getting the big prize of the Marines? Who does he blame for this? Does he blame himself? Does he blame Meghan? Does he blame the royal family? Does he blame the British public? Who does he think is responsible for this great fall from grace that he's experiencing now? And then the final question is, will his titles be taken next? Is that what's coming next? Because this, I don't think we really expected. We just thought that they were going to lie in abeyance for indefinitely, really. It's a surprise that they are being taken. Underlying energy is the King of Cups. Here, the man drowning in his emotions. Some people say that the King of Cups is a card of unexpressed emotion, silent emotion, deeply felt emotion, but it's not expressed. So there's a very unhappy man there, if that is the case. And I think it is in this particular reading. It's not necessarily always how I read this card, but this is how it's reading for me now today. That very emotional moment, very, very emotional. And because it's king, it's that high profile, those were high status patronages, they were plum jobs that Harry got. They gave him the absolute best, really, and that it's a very emotional moment for him now, losing them, not only losing them, but seeing other more deserving royals getting them, and very interesting that they are both women getting these patronages. So the royal family is making a great statement now about priorities and values within the royal family. So what's the mood like in Montecito? Are tiaras being tossed? Oh yes, we get the Six of Wands in reverse. And you can see on here it says victorious. The undead are victorious. It's official. And it really is official. Wow, this zombie deck really, as bizarre as it is one of the most literally honest decks that I've ever used. A great defeat for them in Montecito, a great defeat, and a very public defeat. It really is. In the regular rider weight, there's a triumphal procession on horseback, hands are raised, laurel wreaths are being handed to the victor. This is a very public humiliation, and they're feeling it. They're really hurting. If the royal family was biting back after the news broke of the book, the memoir being written and a second volume being held back until after the Queen's passing, this is a real slap in the face back. Royal family fighting back. They're fighting back in other ways too, which I'll be looking at with Neil Sean. He's popped up and he's doing some interesting deliveries on YouTube, very much with the blessing of the royal family. So there's a fight back, and this is a round that's been lost in Montecito, and they know it. Definitely, battle has been lost. So, how does Prince Harry feel about losing his rugby patronages? Oh my goodness, 9 of Cups in reverse. He is mortified. The 9 of Cups is your ultimate happiness. The things that it's your dreams come true. Very emotional. We've got the King of Cups here and the 9 of Cups. This is great sorrow. We saw that in the reading on his uniforms being shipped out to California. Sorrow, regret. 9 of Cups in reverse. He's lost the thing that makes him most happy. Going to rugby matches, the anthem being sung, the crowd roaring, cheering. There he is on huge television screens, very public figure, most popular sport, not the most popular sport, obviously not, but it's a very high profile sport. Both of them, both league and union, gone from him. So that's a bitter blow. It really is a bitter blow. Now, how does he feel about the big one, about the Royal Marines going to Princess Anne? Ace of Hazards, the Ace of Hazards. That is the plum jobs, the Ace of Pentacles in regular rider weight. That is the big prize. It is the big prize. I've been saying that in this reading, and the cards are now loudly and explicitly saying the same thing. The Ace of Pentacles, this was his inheritance from his grandfather, Prince Philip, that has now gone. It has gone to Princess Anne, and Princess Anne is now wielding a lot of power in the royal family. I think that she is in charge of the Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee celebrations next year and the planning. She, it has been speculated, is a trustee of Prince Philip's will and is withholding money from Harry and putting a time on that. This is all speculation, and as ever, when I make comments like that, I have to add, these are just my opinions, and this is just a tarot reading. It is just for entertainment purposes. So it's a big loss, a huge loss for him. Loss of status, loss of prestige, loss of tradition and inheritance as well. Who does he blame? Has he done some soul searching and thought maybe, just maybe, going to the Lion King instead of a memorial for Marines who were killed in service? It might not have looked so good. Who does he blame? 5 of Swords in the reverse. The 5 of Swords can be mental conflict, fighting with yourself about something. And there is the military figure, been waiting for the military figure to come up. Something being wrestled away from him. But I'm getting the feeling in this card, it looks like 2 brothers. And I think that he blames Prince William. Conflict with his brother, that he believes that Prince William is behind this, that Prince William, like Princess Anne, is taking the reins in a certain way in the fight back of the royal family against Harry and Meghan, that he's blaming his brother for this. And because it's in the reverse, it is really underhanded. This is an underhanded card at the best of times, but Prince Harry thinks that this is really unfair. This is really real vicious, infighting, nasty defeat for him at the hands of Prince William. Definitely getting that vibe. And I'm going to do a bonus question on that if I have the time in this reading. I think I will. My final question for this little spread here is, are the titles next? Or is this where it ends for the public disgrace and humiliation of Prince Harry at the hands of the royal family? And I'm guessing the Knight of Swords in reverse. Knight of Swords is, again, like the King of Swords. No, it's not. Sorry, it's the King of Cups. I saw the King of Swords in a reading I was doing earlier today. My apologies. It's not coming up here. Knight of Swords. Let's get back to this card. The Knight of Swords is swift action, always. Very decisive action. Quite ruthless action. And in the reverse, it's brutal. It's savage. It's vicious. There is another blow coming. It does look as though there is something even more vicious coming Harry's way. If this brother has anything to do with it, and I suspect that he does, that this is the first layer of a removal, of stripping away of all ties with all things royal, and coming down the pike for Prince Harry, like this tank is riding over the zombies, is riding over Prince Harry. Getting that definitely off this. This sorrow, I don't think, is just confined to what this round of loss represents to Prince Harry. I think that he knows there is another loss coming for him. And I think we're seeing shots fired from both camps, tit for tat. I know that I'm losing my patronages, that they're being reassigned to Catherine and Princess Anne, Duchess of Cambridge and Princess Anne. I fire a warning shot about my memoirs coming out. I know that I'm losing my titles and so on and so on. I fire another warning shot. It's back and to and fro, back and forth at the moment. And we'll be looking again at who will win this ultimately. But I want to do one more question now on a similar topic. It's a topic of patronages, royal patronages. Prince William has the football patronage and was very prominent during the Euro 2020 finals. We saw him there with Prince George, all dressed beautifully in his little suit, and being so emotional, and everybody fell absolutely in love with Prince George. It was wonderful. Catherine was there with her lovely red earrings, being also very patriotic and lovely. And it was a big moment for them as a family, for the Cambridge family. Rumour has it that Prince William, in fact, sent out an olive branch to Prince Harry and invited him to the final as a bridge building exercise. Let's mend our relationship. Come back, come over, come to the final, come and sit with us and share our joy. And Prince Harry turned it down. So the rumour goes. So my question was, did he? And I get the Emperor. It's come out sideways, in between positive and negative. It's a kind of a challenge position, the challenge position. And the Emperor is ego, really, in its least evolved form. It's male ego. It's over my dead body, really. No, I can see that Prince Harry said no. I think that there was some kind of peace offering made by Prince William, some kind of gesture made, and Prince Harry said no. And he said no because he could not put his ego aside and think of the bigger picture. And it would have looked incredible for the two brothers to be united on a global stage at an event like that, at such an emotional event for the country, for the world, really. And Prince Harry, by the look of this card, turned it down, couldn't get his ego out of the way, couldn't accept the offer, and this has now happened. I'm not saying that the one followed the other, but it is interesting timing, nevertheless. And Harry does suspect that William was behind this. And really, who can blame Prince William? Quick final card. How does Prince William feel about this? The reassignment of those patronages. Of course, with Catherine in charge of rugby, William will be going to all the great rugby matches with her, like he goes to Wimbledon with her. How does he feel about it? He's an unhappy man. He really is an unhappy man. 5 of Cups. Can you see that? Needs to focus a bit. Let's put them down for you. 5 of Cups is a lot of sorrow, a lot of regret about the way things have unfolded, the loss of family. They're in a cemetery, obviously, where a loved one is buried. Harry is buried for William. William is broken-hearted. I've seen that in many readings. 10 of Wands in the reverse. He can't deal with this burden anymore. He's put this burden down, this burden of carrying his brother and carrying him and carrying him. And I think one of the reasons why we all are so gripped by this story is that we all in our lives have a family member, a loved one, someone that has disappointed us and that we try to carry, we try to pick up, we try to encourage and bring back and fail. Eventually you fail, but you fail. It almost kills you in the trying to save them. And William has decided, I cannot save Prince Harry. And this is a very similar energy. The 9 of Wands in the reverse, the 9 of Wands, is another card of giving up. It's just saying, I can't anymore. All these characters are attacking and attacking and attacking, and I can't withstand it anymore. I'm just letting go. I'm letting go of the situation. So there's nothing vindictive here. There is nothing ugly. There is a lot of grief, but there is exhaustion. There is just despair. There is this energy with Prince William that he cannot cope anymore, and for his own sanity and his own health. And I do worry about Prince William's health. I don't want to put that energy out there, so I'm not going to do a reading on it, but I worry about him. And this reading really confirms those fears, that he needs all of our love, all of our support, all of our good energy, and I think they all do right now. So on that note, on that somber note, I'm going to leave this reading, and I'll see you on the next one.